My name is Melissa Dagley. I am the Executive Director for the Center for Initiatives in STEM, which is a collaboration between our STEM colleges here at the university. College of Engineering, Computer Science, and College of Sciences are our two largest partners, and then also working with the College of Medicine and the College of Optics and Photonics. And so I am thrilled to welcome you here today to have a chance, an opportunity to speak with some of our students. And so we have a few prepared questions that I'm going to have them start out with, and then we're going to open the floor. So you need to be thinking right now, what are your questions? What do you want to answer? So these lovely ladies and gentlemen can get them answered for you. So I'm going to start off with just a quick introductions. And so we'll start here with Isaac Joshua, and we'll let you do your introduction first, and we'll just go down the way. And then we will jump into our questions.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Isaac Joshua Barton. I am a senior here at UCF. My area of study is civil engineering and construction engineering.
Hi, I'm Hannah Edmonds. I'm studying industrial engineering, and I'm currently a senior, and I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paige Vintel. I am a senior aerospace engineer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Lateral. I'm a senior in the Honors College, and I am studying mechanical engineering.
I'm Anisha. I am a third-year student studying computer science with a research focus in artificial intelligence, and I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Good morning. Welcome to UCF. My name is Mariana Sorrosa. I am a senior double majoring in mechanical engineering and international and global studies, and I grew up in South Florida in the Broward County area.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for our students for being out here with us on a Saturday morning. Okay, first question. When you applied to UCF, you had a lot of other choices of schools that you could go to. And so my question is, why did you choose UCF? And what are 2 or 3 reasons, in your opinion, that a current senior having many choices should choose UCF? I'm going to start with, let's see here, we'll start with Ryan.
All right. So I am a local student. I grew up maybe like 10 minutes down the road. I went to schools here, and so UCF was kind of it's here. I applied to other schools around the country and then evaluated what I wanted out of it. It was more of a question of, I knew I wanted to do engineering, so UCF's a great engineering program, but there's also UF. I wanted to entertain photography and creativity, so I looked at schools like Rochester Institute of Technology and University of Tennessee. And at the end of the day, I looked through what UCF was offering, the opportunities here within CECS. The Honors College was a big one. It also came down to financial. It is a factor. It was a lot more cost efficient for me to come here as opposed to out of state. And at the end of the day, I knew the campus. I knew it was going to be another second home for me, and I've enjoyed my experience ever since.
Okay. Paige, you have the mic, so you can go next.
All right, so I'm an out-of-state student. I'm all the way in Missouri, so it's a bit of a distance from here. I was looking at schools all over the country and came to UCF actually on a tour for Halloween Horror Nights. I used it as a get-out-of-school free day when I was in high school, so don't tell anybody that. But we went and toured, I saw the campus, and I was just immediately enraptured and looked into it more and applied and got accepted and was in the Excel Compass program. And I was like, well, this seems like a really good program. At the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to go into. I had the choice between graphic design and aerospace engineering, or just engineering in general. And I was kind of going back and forth, but UCF just had so many opportunities for engineering, so many connections within the college, and I ultimately made the choice to go with engineering, and it has worked out so far.
Thank you. Hannah.
Yeah, so as you were just talking about, I'm also an out-of-state student. So I had applied to a lot of places, and I'd been eyeing UCF for a very, very long time. You know when colleges start to send you stuff in like 8th grade, and you're like, oh my gosh, I should not be thinking about this now, but then all suddenly you're thinking about it? I was one of the nerds who toured UCF when I was in 8th grade on a field trip, or not a field trip, on like a family trip here to Disney, and I fell in love with the campus instantly. And I'd kind of had it in the back of my mind that I really, really liked UCF. It definitely was a huge pro to my 8th grade brain that it was near Disney. Was definitely doing the math on that for sure. But when actually applying to universities and comparing the cost, UCF was first of all a huge contender for that, just because of when comparing in-state schools to out-of-state schools, the cost was pretty much the same. So for me, that was a huge benefit. But also the location, as I talked about, I love Disney, and that is where I wanted to work in the future. And all I could think of was how convenient that the college that I could go to could be right near where I wanted to work one day. So that was another benefit for me, as well as the honors college being really interesting to me and really enjoying that and really liking that, and just all of the opportunities that UCF offered here in Orlando.
And I was going to say, you can't see it in Hannah's picture on the screen, but she's actually wearing a Disney name badge as part of that. Isaac Joshua, let's hear from you.
All right, so for me, yes, the cost was a part of one of the reasons I chose UCF, but I also like the people. Because for me, these are people I'm going to be spending a lot of time with, going to classes, having to learn from, and for me, the people is really the main thing that sold me. Because I had offers to go to many different places, but it was the people. It was the people that really did it. And then the other thing was it most aligned with the goals I had set that I wanted to hit. So the people and the goals, my target, and it most aligned. So that's why I chose UCF.
Excellent, thank you. So our next question, you've been at UCF for a while now. We have lots of juniors, seniors, mostly seniors up here. I'm gonna start, since again, Isaac Joshua, you have the mic, so I'm gonna start with you. How do you balance academics with other outside activities? And describe some of the experiences at UCF, especially the ones that relate to your major, that you are pursuing in addition to your coursework.
All right, so the balance of school and extracurricular is key for any student, because you have your classwork that you must do, get your grades, do good. And then you also have the things that companies are looking for. We're engineering students. What's the purpose of an engineer? Solve problems. So you, as a student, you have to find ways to get experience solving problems. For me, in civil and construction engineering, I took on different competitions. I'm a member of ABC, the Association of Builders and Contractors, and they have a national competition where all the best of the best when it comes to project management and construction come and compete every year. So I did that on top of my regular schoolwork to gain the experience problem solving, working with people, working in a team, doing something very hard and time sensitive, but that gave me the experience I needed so that when I competed and did well, the companies that saw me said, we want that guy. And after I competed, I got multiple internship offers. So it's just, you balance, you get your grades, you do good, but also take the time to do the extracurriculars that will make you stand out.
Okay, let's jump to the other end. Mariana.
Sure. So I believe that a way to have a well-balanced experience is, of course, to get involved in your academics and join clubs where you can get hands-on experience that helps prepare you for industry. But I would also say that having a well-balanced academic experience involves extracurriculars and things outside of our major. I'll give you some examples of some really cool things that I feel very blessed I've been able to do here at UCF that are maybe not as related to my major. One of the examples is getting certified for rock climbing. Belay is essentially getting people up and down the rock climbing wall safely at the Recreation and Wellness Center. If you'd asked me 4 years ago would I do that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? But I've had really opportunities of a lifetime here at UCF. And that's just an example of something I didn't think I'd do that I'm now getting to do here at UCF. I also joined the Service Dog Training and Education Program, which is a club that trains animals to get ready to go to service dog school. And I learned how to train dogs there. So again, things that have made my experience here at UCF very well-rounded and really enjoyable are balancing it with academic things related to my major and also things outside of my major. Some of the programs that have helped me inside of my major include Excel, which was mentioned earlier. Within the Excel program, there is a tutoring center designated for students in that program, and oftentimes the people helping you there are graduate students that are also teaching your classes such as calculus 1 to 3 and differential equations. So it's really helpful to be able to go in there, ask for help on that, physics and other sciences, and to meet other students. A lot of my first friend at UCF is from the Excel program, and we're hanging out later today to celebrate Valentine's Day as Galentine's. So that's just like a personal story to show you that you can create friendships there, you can get support. And within that, there's something called GEMS. It stands for Girls Excelling in Math and Science. And for our fellow women in STEM, I highly recommend that you apply to this program if you are able to. And within GEMS, you get a mentor that helps you navigate life in college the first year. I had a mentor my first year, and then I had the privilege of being a mentor for 2 years. So I highly recommend that to help you be successful in your major.
Anisha.
Yeah, so I really like this question because I really think it's significant to balance your academics and social life while you're in college because, you know, you're independent and at the same time, you don't want to like overwork yourself with only doing your classes and all that. It's always great to, you know, enhance yourself in a lot of leadership opportunities. And believe it or not, I actually do classes, you know, I'm a computer science major and I also work 5 jobs. So yeah, let me tell them. I am a teaching assistant, I'm a coach for peer nights, I do paid research, I do tutoring, and then on the side here and there I do like social media, like, you know, TikTok and Instagram, like some marketing thing, which is like, you know, just side hustle to buy myself a coffee. But yeah, so I really think it's so significant to kind of involve yourself in a lot of, you know, leadership activities. And one thing that I will say is, you know, even though I'm a computer science major, I don't only involve myself in like computer science opportunities because there's a lot of things outside of my major that I'm interested in. And for instance, I am on the board for Volunteer UCF. And Volunteer UCF is basically a campus-funded organization where we provide volunteering opportunities for students like you guys. So I highly suggest you guys start you know, volunteering and getting yourself involved on campus when you come to UCF. So yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities on campus that you can definitely involve yourself in. You know, like what she said, she was in a club where she worked with service dogs, and you know, I'm in one where I do things about volunteering, and I'm also the events director for this club called Girl Up Orlando, where it's about female empowerment and how we can help underprivileged girls around the world. So yeah, definitely take the time and don't enroll yourself in a bunch of, you know, hard classes. Definitely balance things out and, you know, join clubs, be more social, and there's a lot of benefits to it. You can make a lot of friends, make a lot of connections. You can even find like, you know, internships, and you can meet so many new people, and that's something that really helped me coming into college. So I highly suggest you guys do that too.
Okay, thank you, panelists. I'm going to jump real quick. Do we have any questions from the audience? Goodness, I'm going to start over here since the mic's in this direction.
Yes, I was wondering if you were in the field of engineering that you started out when you came to the school, and what led you to the field that you're currently in or going to graduate in.
Right?
So when I came in, I knew I wanted to do engineering, and I was pretty set on mechanical because it's the most well-rounded of the options. In my freshman year, I think I considered changing my major 3 times. We have an intro to engineering class taught by Jackie Sullivan where the different colleges come in and talk about what the majors offer and what the career path looks like. Aerospace was quite interesting. And then photonics engineering came up as an option. I was like, okay, this could be cool. I like photography. I like lenses. And the more I looked into it, I'm like, this isn't what I want to do long term. So now, looking back 4 years later, I know I want to do automotive. I've been able to intern at Ford 3 times, and I'm pretty set on that's the career path for me.
So I actually did change my major when coming to UCF. I had already had a little bit in mind that I did want to move to industrial engineering. I had started off as mechanical engineering, and all the 9 schools that I applied to as a mechanical engineer. And that was actually a huge decision point for me when deciding where I wanted to go and deciding which university to go to, because I had kind of known that I wanted to switch to industrial, and not a lot of schools offer that necessarily. There was only one school in the state of South Carolina that did, and that was Clemson. And I wasn't a big Clemson person, nothing against them, but they never drew me in as much as UCF did. And so that definitely helped me eliminate some schools that I had been looking at, was just having that in mind that I wanted to switch there. And as Ryan was talking about, that intro to engineering course there that we have to take helped me narrow down and solidify, like, yes, industrial engineering is what I want to do, and getting to hear from like events that IISE hosts, which is the Institute of Industrial Engineers. They host lots of different events on campus, and because there were some speakers from Disney who are in their industrial engineering department, it also helped me narrow down that, yes, it is the field that I wanted to go into.
I came in studying mechanical engineering, and I am still studying mechanical engineering. I will say that I have an internship right now with the Department of Energy. It's called the Minority Serving Institution Internship Program, and UCF is a minority serving institution, so any UCF student can apply. And it's more related to nuclear engineering, but I feel that the skills I've learned here from mechanical engineering are able to translate for me to learn those nuclear engineering skills, and they've solidified what I want to do for graduate school. However, for students that are uncertain of what they want to study, but if you know that it's somewhere around the engineering track, similar to the Excel program I mentioned earlier, there's a program called Compass, and you also have mentors, and within your classrooms, they bring in speakers from different engineering fields, and they help you to kind of decide what major you want to do in engineering. So I recommend that if anyone's uncertain.
Good,
So,
Paige.
I mentioned at the beginning that I was considering graphic design, and I still do some of that in my everyday life. Like, it doesn't just go away your other interests, and you can still incorporate them into the other things you do. Overall, engineering was a little more important to me, and I was part of that Compass program, and I saw a bunch of different fields, and it did solidify, yes, I want to do aerospace. But something that I've also learned is you're going to find a lot of things you don't like to do, and that is really going to help you on the path of finding the one you do want to do.
Yes, learning what you don't like is very important as part of this process.
And one more thing to add that too, I think as someone who is interested in studying themed entertainment too, specifically with what I do in engineering, having the Rosen College of Hospitality that has options for different certificates and minors was a huge benefit for me, as well as I'm a minor in hospitality management. So being able to take my engineering degree and figure out specifically where I wanted to apply that to and get either a certificate, a minor, or whatever I wanted to in that has been really beneficial for me as well.
Okay, I had a question right here in the middle.
Thank you. Would you mind telling us your experience in the Honors College, and do you feel that that impacts on life balance, meaning being able to do more extracurriculum activities because you are in that program, in that college?
Sure. I'll take this one to start. So the Honors College, I think the best impact it has is it's the small college feel in the big university. You pretty much know everybody. The deans know most of the students by name. If you walk into the building, they recognize you. Just the other day, I walked through the door and Dean Sheila called my name out and was like, "You didn't tell me you got an internship at Pratt." Just caught me way off guard. But it's not making things any harder. The classes are the same level as the rest of the university. It's just a smaller class feel. I think they're capped at 28 students. I would say it doesn't really impact your balance either. I work at the computer lab there. I'm able to do my homework. I'm able to still interact with friends. It's not been a drain. It's been an addition to things, just with the amount of connections that I've had out of it, the experiences that it unlocks, and just overall, it's been a huge draw and benefit to my education.
Yeah, exactly what Ryan said. I think if nothing else, it has only ever benefited me. It's never felt like it's added pressure to my academic career at all. It's never felt like that. It's been a huge benefit to be able to take classes with smaller class sizes. It's a huge benefit. It's sometimes I feel like it can almost seem intimidating. You're like, oh my gosh, the professor might actually try to ask me questions and stuff. But I've only ever seen it as a benefit that you do kind of have maybe an easier way to communicate one-on-one with your professor in that way. And I also think, too, that, yeah, it's that big thing of it's a small college feel in a big college. As someone who came from high school with a graduating class size of 167 students, I was terrified coming to one of, like, the world's like the United States like largest campus ever. So I was terrified coming here, but that helped out a lot, was having that smaller university feel, and with people who at that college who definitely care about you. Like the Honors College has been a way for me to find opportunities and internships, and also have had the opportunity to work there as well, and it's been absolutely beneficial to me.
Yeah, I agree with what both of them said. And one thing that I also want to add on is that when you're in the Burnett Honors College, you can also register for your classes earlier than other students. So I think it's a great asset to your college journey. And one thing that I also want to mention is that I wasn't in the Burnett Honors College to begin with, but then I got into it my junior year because I'm currently working on honors undergraduate thesis. It's this program that the Burnett Honors College has that you can get into in your junior or senior year, and it's a really great program because it's a kind of like a field where you can do research in your major and you can get credit for your major. And so when you do research, it's basically where you're learning outside the classroom, and it kind of replaces some credits depending on what your major is. And I highly recommend you get into it because when you do research, you can go ahead and present a conference, and the Burnett Honors College provides like a lot of opportunities where you can present to like different colleges and many different conferences, and you can also get paid to do so as well. And that's something that I'm currently working on. So I highly recommend that you apply to the Burnett Honors College, and even if you don't get in this time, you can always apply your second year, or you can also apply to the honors undergraduate thesis program your junior or senior year, even if you're not even in the Burnett Honors College to begin with. So I highly suggest that it's a great asset to your college journey.
One thing to add real quick to what everyone said with the early enrollment for the Honors College. The Honors College is one of the ways to get there. There are other programs throughout UCF that will allow that. So don't think that you're at a disadvantage if you're not in the Honors College. Like you said, you can enter as a second year, you can do the undergraduate thesis program. There's so many different opportunities that will still allow you those benefits. Just don't freak out if you're not there yet, because I think applications have closed, but.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And that's a great piece of information. There are a lot of opportunities out there that provide very similar experiences to the Honors College. So if you're not part of the Honors College, okay, that's fine. As you heard, you can apply a little bit later as you move through your career, but there are other opportunities available here at UCF as well. So right back here in the back. Lecture.
As we toured different universities, some of them let us know that the average engineering student, although it's a 4-year program, it takes them about 5 years to complete. Would you say that's typical at UCF as well?
So I'm going to start with that question. Actually, a lot of you can totally graduate in 4 years. Now, what that typically is going to mean is that you may be taking summer courses. And the reason you take summer courses is really to lighten your load during the year. We've talked about involvement and things that people want to be involved in. We've talked about internships, those types of things. The really great thing about UCF is you can do an internship and be a student just based on your location because of all of the organizations, the industry partners that we have here in the area. So I will tell you that you can totally do it in 4 years. And that's what we're really encouraging students to do because we want them to be able to move on to a graduate program, or if they're interested in working, getting into the workforce immediately, then we want to encourage them to do that. Some students do choose to take 5 years in the program. And that's something that we're working with those students on, just so that they're making the right choices to be able to do what they need to do academically, but also within the institution for, like I said, again, internships or organizations, those things to participate in. Okay.
Have any of you lived in the LLC, like the engineering LLC, like for your freshman year? And were there any benefits to that? Or do you know about the LLC living thing?
I did. So I was part of the Excel Compass program. So I lived in the Excel LLC my freshman year, but that also coincided with COVID. So things were a bit more muted in that respect. I did meet a lot of people. I was able to, like some of my roommates I still talk to today. The people on that floor, they had different events and everything. So there is a definite benefit, and there's a built-in community for you. And everybody within that program on the floor was going to the same classes, going to the Excel Center, all of that good stuff. So again, the built-in community is really, I think, one of the highlights of that.
Yeah. And definitely, as the director of that program, I can tell you one of the big benefits is the fact that you have like people. So people that are in the same majors or similar majors, maybe in the same classes, your same math classes, your same science classes. And so you don't have to worry about that your roommate's up all night gaming or doing something else, because you may even be in the same math class and you both have to study for this test. It's also nice to be able to walk down the hallway, or again, perhaps your roommate or your suite mate, to be able to say, you know, I'm having difficulty with this particular course, or this question, can you help me out? Maybe let's work together on this. So that community, and then also that group of like-minded, so that you can work together on some of those academics as well. And we provide a lot of activities and opportunities within the LLC.
Hey, I was just wondering if any of you guys were in ROTC, and if you could share your experiences as an engineering student while in that program.
Is anyone part?
I have a couple of buddies who have been in the program, and they've been able to balance it quite well. I've not heard any negative experiences from them about it. I've heard a lot of rants about it. So the fact that there's nothing immediately negative coming to my mind about it, they've been able to balance it quite well.
Yeah, I would say I am not an ROTC. I serve on the President's Leadership Council, which is 35 students that support university events. And I have a friend that is studying aerospace engineering, and he's in Air Force ROTC. So it goes kind of hand in hand. And I think that when he talks about ROTC, he expresses that he feels like he learns things in the classroom that he applies with ROTC and vice versa. So we do have Army and Air Force ROTC here, and I also have only heard good things about it, but you could reach out to the offices and ask for more information on that too.
Okay. Let's go back here in the back.
I have two questions. The first one is, can anyone expand on the biomedical engineering minor that UCF offers? And the second one is, as a freshman, did you all have any experience or opportunities in research or the CWEP program, et cetera, as a freshman?
Is anyone biomedical?
All right, so my sister is actually in the biomedical program here. And so it's a lot of work. The classes are medical classes, so there's going to be a lot of studying. Engineering, medical, we're all study buddies. We live in the library. So a lot of studying, but I can say she has reaped benefit from being invited to do research and doing other things. So it's definitely worth it.
I will also tell you, as part of the minor, the biomedical engineering minor, there are a lot of overlapping classes. You do have to take some additional science courses, maybe beyond your major, but a lot of the upper division courses you can work in as electives within your major program. So it's not completely all additional coursework. There's some of that that's integrated. Correct. At the undergrad level, we offer the biomedical, the bioengineering, and then we have a master's program. And so most students that are going to be going into that area will do mechanical engineering at the undergrad.
So for the CWEP question, I am the former president, now senior advisor of First Step. We're a club that helps break the stigma that freshmen can't get internships. You'll be able to talk to a lot of us today in the atrium for the club showcase. But we've had a couple freshmen that end up in the CWEP program. It is possible. It just depends on when your resume is pulled from the pool, what experience you have on it, what they're looking for, and how it matches and aligns to that. And then to answer partly the biomed, my roommate is studying mechanical engineering and has done research at Wake Forest. And so she's fully focused on biomed. That's what she wants to do. There's research opportunities here at UCF that she's done as well, but she's not doing the minor. So there are different ways to do it. She's just studying mechanical engineering and integrating it into her experience outside of class.
Okay, question?
You kind of already touched on it, but what have been your internships and have you found it difficult finding and getting them?
Okay, so for me, I would say it wasn't difficult. I have the benefit of being in ABC. We're one of the, I believe, the only club that sports a 100% hiring rate after graduation. And so for us, the companies are hungry for interns. And so really the key for students is to show, A, you're willing to learn, you're a sponge, and you're also willing to do the work. So for me and the other students within ABC and for y'all to understand, it's not only civil and construction engineering students who benefit. We have mechanical, we have industrial, we have electrical who come join us, and then the companies will hire them, and then some of them use that as launch pads into the fields that they actually want to do. So yeah, I would say the opportunity's out there. It's just, if you're hungry for it and you're willing to do the work that's required, you got it. I have freshmen I've advised on how to get internships that they've done the extra work, gone the extra mile, and then they get it. And they're competing with seniors and juniors and all of that.
Hannah?
Yeah, so about internships, the biggest advice that I have for applying for internship is that apply to like as many. Don't just like, apply to one or two and then just like wait on the offer. You have to apply to like a lot of internships, and then you only hear back from like, one or two, or, depending on, the company or depending on your connections and all that. And another advice that I have for internships is that make sure you have a good resume, a resume with like, good experience, because a lot of these companies want to know that you are a student who's passionate and, like he said, you're hungry for the internship. It's something that you really want. So make sure to and go involve in a lot of campus opportunities to kind of build up your resume. And one thing that I'll also mention is that UCF has a department called Career Services, and they really help a lot with getting your resume edited and making it all, just make sure that it's all like well for these companies when you kind of give it to them. So definitely take advantage of Career Services because they really helped me a lot. And just keep applying. And if you have a LinkedIn account, I suggest you make one, and a Handshake account, because you can cold email recruiters who can recruit from UCF, who will help you get these opportunities. So those are lots of advice that really helped me get the internships.
Let me just say real quick, Handshake is a tool that UCF uses, and so as a student, you have access to that when you arrive.
Yeah. Career Services is great for your resume, as well as there's lots of resume critiquing events that go on campus already, put on by the college and put on by lots of organizations that a lot of us are, I'm sure, involved in and are very intertwined with our majors. And that's how I've had my resume critiqued before, or just by professors, different mentors that you might meet along the way. Having your resume critiqued is a huge thing to do. I've had lots of internships, many of them that I did not do alongside classes, but that I did during the summer. One not here in Orlando, but for the rest of them have all been in Orlando. And I think, one of the biggest things is to apply for things that you might not think are maybe within your scope of what you might actually be able to do. But I think and I think building up your resume with different things, whether it's related to your field or not related to, talking about your involvement, finding projects that you can do that will support your resume through different organizations. I'm involved with the Theme Entertainment Association here at UCF, TEA, and they do lots of different events. Like they usually build an escape room each spring together. So being involved in stuff like that can be a huge resume builder, as well as they do a design competition that you can have on your resume to put on there. And once again, just ways to build up your resume in whatever field you want to be involved in. That's just for themed entertainment, but there's so many different areas like that you can do, and just applying to internships. And like you said, you could get an internship your freshman year. That's not, it's not true that that's not going to happen. I had an internship after my freshman year, and just applying and finding ways to build up your resume is super important, and showing that you're more of just somebody outside of your classes as well.
Yeah, I would say that I've had mentees express to me in the past concern because they're worried that they don't have enough experience. But I'll say a great way to get experience is to participate in clubs. You can get hands-on experience and put that on your resume. So you don't have to be worried about the fact that it's your first internship that you're applying for, because now you'll have gained experience here as a student at UCF. And on top of career services, which is very great, and they also do mock interviews and things like that, I also recommend the Writing Center. It's also a free service for our students here, and they can also check for grammar and those types of things, whereas career services does do that, but their focus is more on making sure that the format of your resume is appropriate for the job that you're applying for.
Okay. I want to make sure we jump to the next question. We'll come back if we can. Other question?
Do you think that your high school classes did a good job preparing you for engineering, or definitely not?
So my high school operated on a 4-block system, which definitely helped me transition to college with the semesters, switching over every semester. I also got involved in a couple of different things in my high school. Yes, I liked my classes. If you had engineering classes in your high school, that's great. I didn't ever take any of those. It was really the clubs I got involved in. I did robotics. I did something called Science Olympiad and Envirothon. So extracurriculars definitely transfer over, but it is a good foundation. If you like physics, if you like math, then yes, this is going to be an enjoyable experience for you. If you don't, then that's probably not the best for you. So know what you do and don't like.
I took AP classes in high school, and I can say pretty confidently that those were harder than college. Just the rigor of those classes and what they require and the amount of content they're squishing in, I think I struggled a lot more with those than I did in college, and it might also just be the environment. There were not very many of us taking AP classes, as opposed to college where you're in a room with everybody taking the same class. So it's a good gauge of where you're at in that sense. But overall, I think I was very well prepared, especially Paige with the block schedule. Coming from a high school that had longer 80-minute classes rather than 45 minutes, it was a huge help to be prepared for the longer lecture time blocks rather than seeing your professor every day.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, I went to a high school that had a pull-out program in my district where I did mainly dual enrollment my entire high school experience. So I was doing pretty much all college classes my sophomore, junior, senior year of high school. And I think that definitely prepped me, and I know that's a very unique scenario, but one thing that I did want to highlight with that was if you do come in with AP and dual enrollment, is UCF is great about taking those and applying it toward your degree. And that was a huge benefit to me for UCF, was being able to come in with all of these credits, already of taking chemistry, already of taking biology, already of taken up to Calculus 3, and being able to not have to do those again at UCF. And I think that really helped prepare me, but also that was something that UCF was great about working with me on, just accepting all of those credits and not having to retake those courses.
I do feel that my high school prepared me well. I went to a technical high school, and the last 2 years we did a program, so I did machining and worked as a machinist in manufacturing for 1 year. But if you're, but I would say that my experience is a little different than Ryan's. I think that my classes at UCF have been harder than my classes in high school or even doing dual enrollment and things like that. But if you haven't taken many STEM classes or something like that, you might just have to work a little bit harder or during your first year or so. But there are definitely resources that can help you. We also have something called SARC, which is Student Academic Resource Center, and SI, which is supplemental instruction. And those are also free tutoring services that you can go to and get help with. So if you feel like you're coming in with a disadvantage or don't feel like you've learned a lot of math or science in your classes in high school, don't worry. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. Like I said, you might just have to go to tutoring a little bit more or work a little harder, especially during your first year, to feel confident in your math and science abilities.
And I will say, I will play to the other part of this, other side of this, of that, you know, not everyone has the same opportunities. And so you may not have honors classes or AP classes or dual enrollment classes or all those opportunities. I will tell you, you can still come in and we're going to pick you up. We're going to meet you wherever you are, and we're going to work with you. The Excel program, really, that's what we're all about, is helping students with their mathematics and moving them forward, making sure that they're prepared for their majors moving forward. And then our new Math Launch program, which takes students who are not yet calculus ready and works with them in order to get them calculus ready, completing multiple of those prerequisites in only one semester instead of over 2 or 3 semesters. And so it also helps to that 4-year degree plan as well in moving people forward. So just want to play to the other side of that conversation. Couple more questions. Let's see, let's go here.
So I'm currently taking calculus in high school. Where would that place me in my math class my freshman year here?
So I would tell you it depends on what calculus you're taking. So for example, if you're taking dual enrollment calculus or AP calculus, then it will depend on how you score on the exam. And so a 3, 4, or 5 makes you eligible for, if it's AB, makes you eligible for Calculus 2. We would typically recommend that if you have a 5, you go on to Calculus 2. If you have a 3 or 4, we'll have an individual conversation just to see what your comfort level is and where you would want to start. But at the lowest, it would be Calc 1, but probably Calculus 2. Okay.
I can add on to that really quick with the calculus. I did get a 5 on the AB Calc, and I still took Calc 1 here because I needed to understand what it was like taking calculus at a college level. So I would recommend doing that just to help you out in the long run.
We're going to go in the very back of the room here.
Hello. If you could go back, what's one thing you would do differently? And also, you don't have to like explain why, but Mac or Windows.
So your question was, if you could go back to the beginning of college, would you do anything differently? Back to freshman year, would you do anything differently? And then Mac or Windows? Cool. So knowing where I am now, I don't know if I would do anything differently. I kind of like the path that I've taken. It's been a good one so far. Maybe I would have moved out earlier to experience what it's like living on my own. But otherwise, it's been a good experience. And then I would say Mac. I use it every day. AirDrop for the win.
This is a very good question because if I'm going to be honest, when I was a freshman here, if I can describe my journey in like one word, it would be lost. I was so lost my freshman year. You know, I grew up from like a very strict, sheltered home, and like since I was never raised to be independent, coming into college was like by far the hardest thing ever in my life. But one thing that really helped me was, you know, the Excel program here. And, you know, I was struggling a lot in my math classes back in high school, but the moment I got to Excel, it really helped me a lot when it came to navigating throughout my college journey and also getting a lot of assistance in my math classes. Like mentioned, we have like an Excel lab where we can work with grad students to get help with our homework and assignments. And that really helped me a lot in my calculus classes and upcoming math classes. And I really recommend that your freshman year. And one other thing is, I'm not sure if this was mentioned anywhere, but we have a website called Night Connect. And Night Connect is a website where you can find campus organizations, clubs, or any, you know, leadership applications that you can kind of use to get yourself involved and know the opportunities on campus. I didn't really know about that until like later on my freshman year, but definitely take a look at that so you can kind of know what clubs we have here, what, you know, leadership positions, and just anything, any events that you can also, you know, get involved with. And, you know, like I mentioned, I'm part of Volunteer UCF, and that website is where I post all like the volunteering opportunities that we all do. So definitely be sure to take advantage of all that, and also be sure to look on LinkedIn, start connecting with UCF students in advance so you can get an idea of the types of students here and all that. So that's just some advice that I have for freshman year.
Okay, we have a question right here in the middle. Okay, so I'll repeat that question since we didn't have a mic over here. Do any of you, other than Hannah mentioned her minor, do you have minors and kind of how did you pick those? How did they help connect to your major?
So I have a digital media minor. One of the things that I wanted when I was coming into college was a way to continue photography and the creative thinking that I had in high school. There were some schools that had a journalism minor, some that had studio art. I did start in the studio art minor here at UCF and then took a couple classes and was like, nope, this isn't it. This isn't fitting. So I found the digital media and stuck with it. And like Paige has said, those skills have transferred a lot into my classes and internships that I've had. So it's a very valuable experience.
Yeah, great question. So I'm actually minoring in math, and the main reason why I am minoring in math is because, I'm a computer science major, and we have to take Calc 1, Calc 2, and then any 2 other math requirements. It can be like differential equations, linear and matrix algebra. And to get the math minor, all you have to do is just take like 4 math classes. So like along with those 2 math classes in the computer science, you have to take like 2 other more just to get that minor. So that's just one of the reasons why I'm doing a math minor. And another thing is that math was like my worst enemy back in high school. I hated math, but when I got to UCF and when I got to, experience the Excel program, it really made the math courses here much easier. And now math is like my best friend. So I highly recommend you try to attempt to get the math minor, especially if you're a computer science major.
I also am doing the math minor as well. For me, for industrial engineering, it was only like 1 extra class that also counted as my tech elective. So I went ahead and did it. And for hospitality specifically, what led me to choose that was my interest in themed entertainment. Now, if there are any of you guys who are interested in engineering and theme parks, Rosen does offer specifically a theme park management certificate, which I think is a huge benefit. That wasn't around when I first started, and I don't think that's a regret I have. I do love my hospitality management minor, but I think that's really cool and a good opportunity of friends that I know are currently doing that certificate, and they really enjoy that, and they are people who also want to work in the themed entertainment industry, so I think that's a huge benefit for anyone who is interested in doing theme parks with engineering.
Yeah, I would say I'm double majoring, so in mechanical engineering and international and global studies, and it's within the 4-year track. And it has included classes in the summer, but I really enjoy learning about international systems and mechanical systems. So I feel very grateful that I'm able to do both here at UCF. And I'm doing a leadership studies minor. I've taken the courses for that. There's something here called the Lead Scholars Academy. It also has a living learning community. And it's something that you do your first 2 years here at UCF. You do take 4 additional classes, so 2 during your first year and 2 during your second year, but they're based around service learning. So you're learning about leadership and then going out to the world and applying it. We have something here called Knight's Pantry, and you can get free food items there each day. That was actually started by a lead scholar. So the idea of lead scholars is to start things that can serve others. So my leadership studies minor stemmed from that program and me really enjoying my classes and wanting to develop my leadership skills more.
All right, question here.
I wanted to expand on that question about minors, and if you guys know if getting a minor is actually worth it. Because even for the math minor, even if it's only 2 extra classes, like DiffyQs2 or linear algebra are really difficult. So is it worth the effort per se to have that on your resume, or is it more of a thing where companies will look at it and be like, it's a nice to have, but it really is irrelevant if it, sinks your GPA a little bit?
So I'm actually going to take that question real quick, and then I'll turn it over to the students. One of the things that I would tell you in choosing a minor is choose a minor that's going to complement your major. If you're going to do a minor, choose something that complements. A couple of people talked about the math minor. The math minor, it's a great minor. It's pretty easy to do, 1 or 2 extra classes, but that may or may not really complement these skills. The hospitality management, then that's going to help complement your technical skills. So when I encourage students to look, if they're going to look at a minor that's going to complement and support and make you stronger, I guess, in your technical skills. The other thing is if you are planning on going to graduate school, I would tell you, do your undergraduate degree, save your specialization areas more for your master's program or your Ph.D. program, because you're going to be taking extra classes for that when you go on to graduate school. And so you may want to instead, companies are going to say, oh, you've got a bachelor's and a master's degree? That's going to be much more oppressive than a bachelor's and a minor. Okay? So that's My opinion from the administrative side of things is just when you're making that decision, really think about what your goals are and how it's going to complement what you're doing.
Yeah. So for me, and it depends on your major, math minor was no extra classes. So I was going to be taking those difficult math classes anyways based on my major. On the hospitality major side, I don't think that it's necessarily been like, oh, that like gives me a competitive edge in a job. I have had lots of people ask me about it in interviews of people going, I see you're a hospitality management minor. Can you tell me like why you chose that and what motivated you to do that? Like, what's that? And that's always been a good talking point for me to be like, I'm glad you asked. Like, here's my passion in that industry. But I think too, especially the hospitality management minor has given me point of view in those classes that gets me out of that engineering brain, almost, if that makes sense. As someone who does want to go into a very people-oriented field like hospitality, you kind of have to step out of that engineering brain every once in a while, and that gives me the perspective to see what hospitality leaders, how they think and how they work and how that just industry works. And so I think that's helped me personally more than anything with my personal development and my own professional development.
Yeah, I echo that. I think that when you do a minor, of course, it's cool that it's going to be on your transcript and, right, you can put it on your resume, but I think it should be something that you're passionate about, and it's more about what you're learning and how it'll benefit you in your career. So I personally would not do a minor like just to do a minor or to say, oh, it's on my resume, but because it's something I'm generally interested in. And this might be the scenario for some students, depending on your situation. If you have bright futures and depending on how many courses you took in high school that gave you credit in college, if you have some credits left over for bright futures that they would fund and you're eligible for that, then in that case, I personally would take advantage of those credits because you earned them and I would want to use them before I graduate. So in that case, I would find a minor that I'm interested in to use those credits so I don't like lose the money from bright futures, but also to make sure it's something that benefits me in my career and in my personal growth.
So I knew I wanted to do design with my degree afterwards somewhere. There had to be some creativity that wasn't all just math all day, which is where the studio art and the digital media came from. Like Hannah said, it is more of a talking point when I'm interviewed, why I'm taking it, because most of the time they're like, this is great that you know these things. It's not helpful. Like, it's not core to the job experience, but it does help me in the way of breaking out and not having to sit in engineering brain all day. But it is also helpful for me. I'm kind of bucking the trend a little bit, doing a minor, and then I'm also doing grad school. I'm in the accelerated master's program. So having that minor has helped me now create a path through grad school where I can choose classes that augment my minor. There is an advanced computer-aided design course that I'm eyeing to take in the fall, and I'm going to be able to bring the skills that I have in a game design class that I took for my minor to that class. So it interacts with my career enough, but was more fun than doing math.
Okay, I am going to apologize for stopping the questions here, but we do have one big question that we want to ask of our panelists before we dismiss for the session. And that is really, what advice on how to make the best of your college experience would you give to incoming students? And so let's start with Mariana. Mariana, if you want to start at the end there.
Sure. So we covered a lot about the academics and getting involved, and I still truly believe that's really important, so I'll emphasize that. But I also want to give you the advice to take care of yourself every year, but especially during your first year, whether you're an in-state, out-of-state student, live near the area or you don't. It's a transition for everyone, so I would take advantage of the resources that you have here. You have a whole support system, so if at times you feel alone when you come, I encourage you to reach out to those that you have. There's something here called CAPS, Counseling and Psychological Services, and you get 6 free therapy sessions a semester. So if you feel that you need to reach out to someone there, I encourage you to do that, or to go to the health center. Like the primary care visits are free just for going there. Then services, it depends on your insurance and such. But just take care of yourself and know that you have people supporting you.
Okay. Hannah, you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, so I think we echoed this a lot already, but internships. They've been a huge benefit to me in leading to where I want to go, and they're a great addition to your academic career, especially when coming out, and I'm graduating this May, looking at how I think that's benefited me in finding a full-time job post-graduation is my academics, but also my experience. And that experience doesn't always have to be internships. We've talked a lot about clubs and all the experience that can come from that, from different projects you might do on campus. I never did any research, but doing research is a huge benefit to your resume and a huge benefit to your experience. But those are typically my biggest things I tell people is internships, and also finding ways to just make your time at UCF fun. I know it can be intimidating hearing all these things about like, yeah, your engineering classes are probably going to be hard. It's probably going to be difficult. You're going to be spending a lot of time studying, but that doesn't mean that needs to be your whole personality is just studying. I love doing fun things with my friends still. As I talked about, like I'm a theme park nerd. I go to theme parks on the weekends all the time, and I always try to make time to relax, even if it's just every other weekend, taking a day to go to a theme park, just hanging out with friends, doing even smaller things with friends, having game night with friends, just finding ways to relax, chill. Maybe there's even an easier class that you're taking and that's almost your brain break for the day. Like my homework for my hospitality class the other day was to watch The Imagineering Story on Disney+. So like finding ways to give yourself breaks, because it's not always the easiest major and it can be overwhelming, but give yourself grace and give yourself breaks and time to still have fun during your experience at UCF, because college is supposed to be a fun time in addition to a great learning experience.
Ryan?
So I'm going to answer this question, but I have 3 questions before. So of the panelists, how many of you are changed from who you were 4 years ago? Like when you came in? All right. So now students in the audience, by show of hands, how many of you are different from freshman year of high school you? Okay. Parents, how many of your student, like by show of hands, is your student different over the past 4 years? Okay. So one of the things that I would give as advice is don't be afraid of that change. In the next 4 years, you're not going to be the same person you are sitting here in this room today, and that's a good thing. You're going to go through experiences that you've never faced before. You're going to put it point blankly, grow up. You're going to experience the world. You're going to experience things that are going to be challenging. You're going to have a friend group in freshman year that you might not have in senior year. You're going to just have to figure out budgeting and what the stock market is and those types of things. You'll have to just go through your college experience knowing that change is going to happen and it's going to be okay. You can talk with your friends about it. They're going to go through the same changes. You can talk with older peers. You're going to find friends that are older than you. You're going to find friends that are younger than you. There will be people in your classes that are twice your age. Learn from all of them. Take that advantage. Don't be afraid of the change and just go in it with an open mind and be prepared to just learn.
Thank you. Paige?
So I'm going to say 2 things are the biggest things I've learned while at college, and it's networking and diversity. So something I've heard from an industry professional was that networking it's all about who you know, not necessarily what you know. And do not discount your peers, because someday we're all going to graduate, right? And these people that you know and that are around you and the people up here that I know and are around me, they're going to go into their fields and they're going to be professionals in the industry themselves. And someday I can call them up and be like, hey, do you have any opportunities for me? That is so valuable. The people you know around you are going to do that someday, and they're going to be able to help you out, and you're going to be able to help them out. So that is, again, very valuable. The other side, diversity, find what you like, but also explore what you like. Find what you don't like. I'm in a lot of different things. I am a senator for student government right now, and not a lot of people think, oh, why are you being a senator if you're in engineering? But I've learned like the process of holding a meeting, all the decorum, the rules, how to conduct business, how to get through business quickly, how to interface with other aspects of the college, how to talk to leadership. There are so many different things you can learn from so many different aspects of the college and everything across the college. So do not take that for granted. And yes, networking and diversity, those are 2 huge things you have here at UCF.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes, so Anisha and then Isaac Joshua, you'll go last.
Yeah, so college is always about balancing your social life with your academics. And what I mean by that is don't get too overwhelmed. Definitely take a lot of breaks, while you're studying, and always make sure to not take too many hard classes at once. We have a lot of campus resources like she mentioned, and one campus resources that you should definitely take advantage of is the academic advising office, since they help you a lot with how to pick your classes and to make sure that you're picking the right courses and you're not having having too much difficulty at once, and they really help you make sure that you graduate on time. That way you don't have to stay longer, or that way you can always add in some filler classes. So that's just basically the whole point of college, balancing your social life and making sure that you are having fun. College is always about making new friends, and like what he said is that everything is a learning opportunity. So, let's just say your freshman year, you go through very bad roommates. That's a learning opportunity. So, make sure to always, choose, your friends wisely, and make sure to hang out with the right people too, people who will kind of build you. And, what she said, networking is a big part of college. I think that's really what helped me get my internship, and that really helped me learn a lot about the difference between different industries and how I can, involve myself in the right places. So, for instance, last summer I interned at L3 Harris. It's an aerospace defense company, and even though I had a lot of fun at the internship, I don't think the company was really my thing. And now this summer, I'm going to be interning at Atlassian. So things are definitely a big change, and it's always about what you implement and the type of people that you network with, connect with, and I highly suggest you try to get involved as much as you can when you come to college.
I'd advise a new student to take the time to figure out what your goal is, because the clubs you join, the internships you go after, it's all going to be guided by the goal, your target. So set aside the time to figure out what that is, and then start placing yourself where those people and opportunities are. Like, for example, if you like to do projects, the Innovation Lab, that's open from 10 to 6, so you can come in and work on your projects. Well, when you're working there, you'll also interact with upper level students, researchers. Everyone goes through there in engineering. Everyone literally goes through there at some point. And it's take the time to have a target so that you'll know what you need to aim for, and also which community best suits where you want to end up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, panelists. Let's give a round of applause for our panelists again.